Okay, so another day, another conspiracy seeming to come true. They called all of us crazy and conspiracy theorists and all this crap for the COVID stuff back in the day. And is it just me, or does all of this just seem like it's like a haze, like a bad dream, or like it seems like pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID is three generations of just it's so like so freaking cut. I don't know. Something's going on with the Matrix that's just not good. Not good. So ABC, trusted news network. The White House. This was like 14 hours ago. So April. So yesterday at 6 p.m. White House changes COVID.com webpage to page supporting lab leak theory. So they're already like with the headline making it out that we're just changing it to fit our narrative. But let's go over this. Let's see. The White House has redirected to a new landing page called Lab Leak: The True Origins of COVID-19, which makes 5-point argument for the theory that COVID-19 originated from a mistaken lab leak in Wuhan, which once we go through this, it's pretty cut and dry that it did. So let's do this. Blah, blah, blah. The news site appears to use theories from the final report of the Republican-led Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic in 2024, which has never been a consensus or a smoking gun to explain the start of the pandemic. But it kind of did. They're already kind of just lying by saying that, because the Select House Committee, whenever it talked to all these people, including Fauci, and they looked at all the facts and they looked at all the stuff associated, it pointed to the Wuhan lab leak. 5 pieces of evidence put forth by the White House for the theory include the following assertions: that the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. The data shows all cases stem from a single introduction into humans. That Wuhan is the home of China's foremost SARS research lab. The researchers at the research lab were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019. And if there was evidence of natural origin, it would have already surfaced. The page includes claims that government officials, including former NIAID Director Dr. Anthony Fauci, helped edit and amplify a research paper on the origins of COVID-19 pushed in 2020 that supported natural origin theory. This guy is like criminal number one. I mean, the most people want to talk about Musk and how he's not elected and everything, but they fail to realize, or they just don't want to realize, or they just ignore the fact that this dude was never elected and he was the highest paid unelected official in the government throughout the entirety of the COVID. A failed thing from Trump and then just amplified by Biden. Blah, blah, blah. So let's just go over here. This is the new one. It's kind of almost a cringy, but anyway. The proximal origin of the SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used reportedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push a preferred narrative that COVID-19 naturally originated. Blah, 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 blah. This is kind of the table of contents. All right, so there's the Wuhan lab, and in 7.5 miles, the Hunan seafood market. So it's showing, what I'm assuming is that if it started here and then went here and then spread everywhere. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used reportedly by the public health officials and the media to discredit lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. Gain of function research, which Fauci did and had a part in, that was proven by not only emails but other papers that he was part of this, even though he testified under oath that he was not. A lab-related incident involving gain-of-function research is the most likely origin of COVID-19. Current government mechanisms for overseeing the dangerous gain-of-function research are incomplete, severely convoluted, and lack global accountability. NIH, which Fauci is the leader of, or the director of, procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research and deficit unreliable and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted invading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. Moorens and FOIA lady Marge Moore. And then, of course, Biden, he pardons Fauci a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States which may have been committed or taken part in from January 1st, 2014. Well. Isn't that just great? So, not only did the Oversight Committee and email tracks and paper and his involvement or his directorship, the NIH, and all this is pointing towards Wuhan. Then he becomes the highest paid non-elected official in the government for the entirety of COVID. He becomes the COVID czar. He becomes the science, as he says it. And afterwards, when all of this is starting to come out, of course, Biden says, dude, you're pardoned from everything forever. You're good. Now give me some money. Give 10% of that to me, the big guy. HHS obstruction. The Biden administration engaged in a multi-year campaign to delay confusion and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the selective subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass senior public health officials. So Biden was suppressing all this and obstructing the subcommittee's investigation so that way he could pardon everybody and not have all this on him. Blah. EcoHealth President Dr. Daszak obstructed the subcommittee's investigation by providing publicly available information, instructing his staff to reduce the scope of the pace of the production, and doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. Further, Dr. Daszak, these nuts, provided full statements to Congress. Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, Dr. Moorens, deliberately obstructed in the subcommittee investigation, likely lied to Congress on multiple occasions, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared non-public information about NIH grant processes with EcoHealth President Dr. Daszak. And okay, so one thing you have to realize, like I've said before in different videos, history repeats itself. If you don't learn from it, you're doomed to repeat it. And I like to take instances like this and kind of compare it to other things so you can see not only the truth of what happened, but you can kind of almost guess what's going to happen. So we see this happening, right? We see this. And this to me is why so many people have such a distrust of government, myself included. Benghazi. This is just like this. Benghazi. Clinton and Benghazi. Clinton and Russia. Clinton and every other thing that turd has been involved in. And she gets away scot-free. Not only does she delete some 30,000 emails, not only does she bleach her hard drives, not only does she hide her hard drives, her personal hard drives, and some computer repairs, bathroom, whatever it was, and then she gets away with it. Like, when will anybody be held accountable for anything? It is so infuriating that nobody is ever held accountable for anything. And we, as the peons in this country, if we just do tiddlywink of what these people did, we would be in the slammer for the rest of our lives. Isn't that right? I mean, that's nuts. That is a beautiful tale. This is he's mad that it's raining outside. This is my O'Malley. Look at that face. He's mad that it's raining outside, so he's up here yelling at me. He's a good boy. Hey, hey. Look. O'Malley. He is just climbing on everything, pushing the buttons on the keyboard. He's a big boy. He's a good boy. He's actually in the calendar, the palm print calendar for 2025. He's Mr. July. He is a good boy. But he's pissed off because it's raining and he wants to go outside, and he was outside earlier and it started raining, so he came inside. Now he's pissed that he can't go outside because it's raining. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about. So, no accountability. That is like the crux of the just not trusting government. Nobody has accountability for this stuff. All these people that did this cost millions of lives, cost livelihoods of small business owners, cost children. It is not wrong to say that kids in school have been they've been hindered by this. By being forced to stay home and do online schooling. Their mental capacity, it was shattered, yet everybody just gets to walk away from it, and people like me just get to bitch about it because it's infuriating that this crap is just allowed to happen. And what's worse is not everybody, people like me and Crowder and Bongino and Rogan, I mean, you name it, they were saying this right here the whole time, and they were called misinformation, they were called liars, they were put on this, they were witch hunted, and now it's come out and it's like, yeah, actually that shit was actually true. So it is so annoying. Every time the government, it is a pattern. Every time the government pushes a narrative, more times out of none, the opposite is the truth. And then years after the fact, they'll come out and be like, yeah, my bad, we lied to you, but it's already done, so whatever. Anyway, the New York obstruction. This one was bad. New York Executive Chamber, led presently by Governor Kathy Hochul, redacted documents offer numerous illegitimate privilege claims and withheld thousands of documents without an apparent legal basis to obstruct the select subcommittee's investigation into former Governor Cuomo's pandemic-era failures. Yeah, I think they get to those failures. Yeah, they get to the failures down here, so we'll wait. The WHO response to the COVID-19 was abject failure because it caved to pressure from the Chinese Communist Party and placed China's political interests above the international duties. Further, the WHO's newest effort to solve the problem exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic via a public treaty may have harmed the U.S. Social distancing, the 6 feet apart, social distancing recommendation, which I don't like people being close to me anyway, so I wasn't too worried about this one. But which shut down schools and small businesses across the country was arbitrary and was not based on science. That's not just a talking point either. During closed-door testimony, Dr. Fauci himself, the science, testified that the guidance was just sort of appeared. So he was like, just somebody started doing it, and I just said, okay, that's the science. I am the science. So we'll just do that. So stupid. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19. Public health officials flip-flopped on the efficiency of masks without providing American scientific data, causing a massive uptick in public distrust. So the thing about the masks, give or take it, honestly, so what I gather from the mask thing, I personally didn't like wearing masks because it just messed with my beard and it felt weird. But you have to realize that, like, the 3M mask, yes, those doctors use them. They wear them all the time. It's not a big deal. but every time you touch it, you got to change it. Like, you can't just wear the same one for days and days or the same one all day. You got to change it out, or else you're just spreading the crap all over your mask. And the cloth ones, they didn't do crap. Like, they were pointless. That was, yeah, that's all I got on the masks. Lockdowns, prolonged lockdowns cause immeasurable harm, not only to the American economy, but also the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly a negative effect on younger citizens. This is what I was talking about earlier with the kids in school. Rather than prioritizing the protection of the most vulnerable population, federal and state government policies force millions of Americans to forego crucial elements of healthy and financially sound life. New York pandemic failure. This is, again, like, how is Cuomo still just walking around? I don't get it. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo the homo, March 25th order, which forced nursing homes to accept COVID-19 positive patients because they were overcrowded in the hospitals and blah, 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 was medical malpractice, because you're forcing nursing homes that had old octogenarian people in there that, for the most part, were not, they were healthy. They were forcing them to take in COVID-19 positive patients, and then it spread throughout the nursing homes, which killed a bunch of grandmas and grandpas. Evidence shows that Cuomo and the administration worked to cover up the tragic aftermath of the policy decisions in the apparent effort to shield themselves from accountability. Evidence suggests Mr. Cuomo knowingly and willfully made false statements to the subcommittee on numerous occasions about materials aspects of the COVID-19 nursing home disaster and the ensuring cover-up. The select subcommittee referred Cuomo to the DOJ for criminal prosecution, which, from what I know, never happened. And it's crazy. So, like, if you're in these subcommittees, or if you're like having to testify against, in front of Congress, you're under oath. And if you're under oath and you lie, you're supposed to be punished. You're supposed to be put in jail because it's lying under oath. It's against the law. Yet we see time and time again, whenever these conspiracies turn truth, or whatever the case may be, and let's not beat around the bush. 9 times out of 10, it's the left that are being under oath, admitting to wrongdoing, or talking about wrongdoing, talking about something, and they lie the whole time. Hillary Clinton, Cuomo, Fauci, the list goes on and on and on. And then later on, it's proven that they lied under oath, but nothing ever happens. Why? Like, why doesn't stuff happen? I don't understand that. That is very infuriating. Shit needs to happen. But anyway, misinformation. Public health official office misled the American people through conflicting messages, knee-jerk reactions, and lack of transparency. Most egregious, the federal government demonized alternative treatments and disfavored narratives such as lab leak theory, and a shameful effort to coerce the control of the American people's health decisions. That few words, coerce and control the American people. You give the government a piece of your freedom, and they will take that and run with it and build on it as much as they freaking can to take all of your freedom. You think that COVID-19 was the last time that they were going to use something to try to take freedoms away from you? You're out of your damn mind, because they saw that they could do it. Now they got to figure out how to do it on a bigger scale. It's terrifying, but it's true. As far as what they just said right here, it's true, because you remember back when Joe Rogan took, what was that he took? He took that over-the-counter stuff, and they're all, and every single mainstream media was saying it was horse dewormer, and I think it was like ABC or NBC or maybe CNN showed a video of him and put like a yellow tint over him to make it look like he was turning yellow. Yeah, that's exactly what they were talking about right here. When those efforts failed, the Biden administration resorted to outright censorship, coercing and colluding with the world's largest social media covers to censor all COVID-19 related dissent. Which is true. Even the Zuck came out and said, hey, that actually freaking happened. And when Elon bought Twitter and turned it into X, he released the Twitter files, and it was all in there. I mean, can't make this shit up. It's black and white. So this right here is the actual oversight committee report. It is not that. Not that. There we go. It is all here. This is the black and white brass tacks, all 500 some pages, and then they just kind of did the key highlights here. So if you want to take time and read through it all, I kind of skimmed through. I went to each of the things that they were actually talking about to see if they were saying what the report said on this website, and they were. So if you go to the report and you look up this part, it actually says this. So they're not doing some goofy business with that. But yeah, just it's not mind-blowing that this turned out to be true, but it is another one of those, everybody was a conspiracy theorist for saying this exact stuff, and then here it is a year or two after the pandemic's done, and now they're saying, oh yeah, by the way, all that stuff that the conspiracy theorists were saying, yeah, it's all true. So annoying. So freaking annoying.